I just wanted to document this magic right here. I got a couple setups. This help with my visualization. Just a couple affirmations right here. We go a little further. We got the visualization and pictures of things that I want to manifest or that I'm going to manifest in the near future. I think it's so essential to mark the times and really know what you desire. So there it is. You know, I'm not too picky, but I do have an idea of what I want in regards to that. Sonata, very particular on having a panoramic, so yeah, watch out for that. I wanted to also document this magic environment that I'm at right now. It's not the best, but I'm grateful. Love her sleeping over there. Got a couple quotes. That's a magic picture right there. Magic picture right there. This whole room is magic, and I just never took the time to really, put it in words, but hopefully the camera don't die. Just a couple of affirmations and things helping me along the way. Believe in you. It's is all around the room. Need to put them on the roof too for the first thing I wake up. That's some biblical ones right there. Yeah. It's the principle. Just marking the times before this shut off on me. This is day 2 of the 30-day rise. And yeah, we only going up. That said, we're going to highlight this. It's one of my favorites. All of these are my favorite quotes. Some biblical, some philosophical. And my brothers, we're growing, learning. About to do some squats. I'm going to finish out day 2 and we out, bro. 1 o'clock in the morning, just don't stop. I don't care about the time. It's about before I go to sleep. She knocked out. But yeah, man, it's all love.
We don't have a lot of time. That's why you have to make sure that the passion stays alive. I wanted to keep this very interesting. Yesterday I was having a really vivid conversation and I was able to really learn my dynamics. And I just wanted to incorporate that in a video because I feel like a lot of my videos are very wide range and very versatile and very vague. But sometimes I like to point out or really express my own personality in my videos. And as you saw with this last one, you get to see me and where I'm at in this place. But right now, as I reflect, I want to also acknowledge how much growth has been made for me to be here, to be able to express this like I'm expressing, and also to be able to engage in certain type of topics with a certain type of perception. Those things are just so beautiful. And that's on a vague level. But today I asked a couple people what they would like for me to talk about, and I feel like it's just so easy for me to talk about anything except for things that really show me myself. So I thought to talk about something that, on top of displaying where it is that I am, also expressing like an element that helped me understand myself and my development and my growth the most. So some people would say school, some people would say their job, but for me it's sex. My Venus is in Scorpio. I say that quite often. My North Node is in Scorpio. And if anyone knows anything about zodiac signs or astrology, they would know that Scorpios are a very sexual, sensual type of a sign. Now, I feel like sex is just, for me, a very particular conversation that I like to have, but I'm always particular about who I speak it to. And I feel like I want to speak on that right now and just embrace the fact that this is one of the other processes of this journey and it's natural. And I feel like for you to experience that and develop in those moments is so you see yourself better and see your partner better, or whoever it is you choose to connect with better. It's a beautiful thing. Now, what is sex to me? Sex is the best way to communicate your emotions. You know, I'm not going to get too far off. Obviously, I want to get to the goody stuff. You know, I always say that my videos are not made for kids, even though I want to make sure that if my sisters or whatever do or watch this, you know, I want to make sure that it's educational to some level, but I still want to make sure that I keep it real. And that's something that I feel like a lot of times I try to make it so acceptable that I don't necessarily, like, it dilutes my personality. So let's talk about sex. Fuck it. It's interesting to me because, like I said, you get to show your emotions to people. A lot of things and a lot of the ways that I've expressed myself has really shown the place that I've been in and the people that I've committed to and connected to. Because one thing about me that I'm proud of is that I was abstinent, or I was a virgin for a long time. So to me, when I look at that now, you know, in the past it was something to be proud of, but when I look at that now, it makes me feel like I wasn't really in tune with my emotional side, or especially my feminine side, and being able to express that. Something that was pointed out to me, or something that was a revelation because no one really told me this is something that I developed for myself, is that the state of being very submissive in sexual actions is a feminine energy, and one of being aggressive or being in control or being the leader, because, you know, it's a two-way street. You don't want to be too much in control, because at that point it turns into an imbalance of energy exchange. But we'll get into that later. Right now we're talking about me and how I learned to develop my understanding behind sexual energy and just sex as a whole. So being submissive for me was something that was odd initially. So I feel like that's what made it easy for me to abstain from wanting to be sexual with people, even if I was interested or even if I was attracted. And even when I would engage in that, I was not able to really be comfortable in that submissive energy because I wasn't in tune with my femininity. And now that I can look at it, it's just a beautiful, beautiful journey to embrace. And every time I'm sexual, I really get to learn myself and what matters to me and what I like. And to be able to share that with someone, that's just as significant as you being as open to express it. Because sharing it with someone that will be able to receive it rather than make you feel resistant or make you feel like something is off, that emotional exchange, that's the clearest way for you to see. Like, a lot of people, they could just have sex with someone and they don't know them. For example, me, I don't do those type of things, but I don't judge because I know that everybody's energy is displayed differently. So if someone want to be more comfortable being vulnerable and expressing their emotional energy over just their mental capability or anything else, you know, I feel like I lead with my mental capability. Some people lead with their financial capability, and some people lead with their emotions, which could be displayed through sexual energy or through just wanting to be someone who provides materialistic things, which is still on the border of financial. So with me, tapping into all elements with one person is just a beautiful thing to express. And it's so funny because even the way that I do it is contrary, because like me, I've now indulged in sexual intimacy with both genders, and I feel like with men in particular, and that submissive energy that I was uncomfortable with, they've helped me understand my place and my role as a woman, and also helped me understand how insecure I was with my femininity because I have a lot of masculine energy within me. So to balance that out, I feel like only a man could teach me that, because being with a woman, it showed me that yes, I do have more masculine energy, but it also showed me that I have more emotions that I haven't tapped into. So what I would just say about just sex, I feel like it's one of the most powerful things in this world if you use it right, because sex has the ability to heal relationships, sex has the ability to communicate, sex has the ability to express the parts of you and the vulnerabilities of you, but it also has the power to allow people to judge you. So it's like people see your truest version by your sex and who you have sex with and how you express your sexuality. And I feel like if we were to embrace that moreover, we would understand people on a deeper level, because in order to even express that, it takes a strong stature of vulnerability more than any other expression. Someone could speak mentality and you don't need to know what's going on in their head. It's just about the way they communicate. Someone can speak finances and you don't need to know what's going on in their bank. It's just the way that they use their money and balance their money. But when you have sex with somebody, to a certain extent, it tell you where you at. Even if you choose to be having barriers and things of that sort, is only so far that you can have that when you're expressing that with someone else. And how you express that and who you express that with tells you, is the clearest version of who you are emotionally, which is the internal. And the power of that, when you combine with someone that I was mentioning earlier, with someone that's able to receive that is healing. And that's why I feel like through that, even though it's such a taboo thing, only through that can you create life. And that's just so significant to me. And that's one of the reasons why, regardless of me being in the same-sex relationship at this point, I feel like I'm so connected to the ideal of having a natural birth. Like, I want to have a natural birth, like being home and having a doula, but also having a natural contracepting, meaning that, you know, I'm able to not have to have artificial insemination or anything like that. I'm so in tune with that because the power in being able to create it in that way is really truly magic. And I feel like as I grow and develop myself more, my sexual energy, and learn, it makes me more confident with people that I don't even have sex with. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I mentioned this when I was having a conversation. Like, you can tell someone that's not in tune with their sexual energy. As they age more, you get to see it more. It's like your body is stiff, the way that you communicate with people is off, and that's because you're not connecting with your emotional aspects. So I know people thought I was gonna come up in here and talk about freaking poses and we call them things, like all, like, you know, I like to explore a lot of things, but for me, I see sex as a very spiritual thing, as a very significant thing. It's not just the act in itself, but the act in itself, like I mentioned, does tell you a lot about yourself. So for me, I think it's one of the most important things for me to dive into, and I recommend everyone explore all those curiosities because it's a reason why you're curious about it. Some people, they're content with just having just normal, what do you call that, just normal, I don't even know the names of the positions, but just normal every time it's missionary, there it is, cause they'll come through. they're comfortable with having just missionary sex, and then there's some people that want to try out all those taboo things and all those other aspects to really learn your body, because those senses, nothing else can tap into those senses but something sexual. And that's just so interesting and so intriguing to me as I'm going on my journey. And I just want to just say that sex is very much so powerful, and that's the reason why, like I mentioned, it creates life. So if you're looking at it beyond just a baby, it creates life because it's showing you your true capability, and that's what's causing a new form of yourself. So I wouldn't say anyone should dive into it if they're not comfortable, but even with me not diving into it when I was comfortable, but diving into it for a different reason of curiosity, I was able to learn, like I mentioned, myself. But when you dive into it and being comfortable in it and learning that that person is on the same vibration of you, of trying to learn and experience and connect, I feel like you are really one. Like, sometimes I watch people and you know they had sex with each other because they're sharing things, you're closer to them, and you really become one. It's interesting now how a lot of people dive into that energy without knowing and still have those ties to let you know that this is not just something that you're thinking, it's something that's really manifesting. Like, you having spiritual or sexual ties and these bonds with people just by connecting to them, that's probably karma. That may be other aspects of attraction and just things that's supposed to happen in this world, but I just feel like none of that is a coincidence, and sex is one of the purest things to prove that to you, because of the things that linger on after, the attachment that changes after, and the connection that changes after. And I'm just baffled by that. So I just wanted to express that, along with a lot of changes that's going on in my life. I feel like sex is one of the most internal things that shifted my consciousness and how I look at people, how I look at life in itself. So I just wanted to make a video talking about that and really getting clear on my perspective on it, because like I mentioned, I explored all, and there's still so much more for me to tap into, because as I'm getting more comfortable expressing that, I'm getting more comfortable with myself, and it's so much depth behind that. And like I mentioned, I think sex is been one of the catalysts to really catapult me into that mindset of really being open to those type of perceptions. So yeah, have sex. It's really healing. Do it the right way. Make sure that you're doing it with someone that you love, because when those STDs and even all those other spiritual things that come up that may be negative, that's showing you, like I said, about yourself. But that's there to let you know that if you're taking advantage of it and not doing it the right way, someone can have sex with someone with herpes and not get herpes because you was having a bond with that person and you love them and you grew with them. Someone can have AIDS with someone and not catch AIDS because you were growing with them and you was connecting with them on a positive energy, not on a lustful energy. Because I believe that those type of symptoms are not necessarily negative but it could be of a lower vibration. So when you're indulging in that on the lower vibrations, it will manifest in all these other symptoms and things of sort. And I'm not judging. I connect to people on all levels. Obviously I am healthy, but it's just very intriguing to think about how it happens. Like I remember initially I wanted to be someone to study sex and just the real science behind it, like all the things, all the literal terms of it and such. But I've learned through that, like I used to study people who caught STDs and just listen to their stories of when they contracted it, and I just feel like it's such a spiritual thing. And when you're indulging in that, you better make sure it's pure, it's because you want to do it, and you better make sure that you're being your true self in that and not trying to prove a point, because like I said, sex is going to show you your emotions clearly and connect you to people so that they can see you clearly. So it's all about trust, it's all about faith, and it's all about love. So keep it 100. Get it?